Blood drops onto weathered pine. 3, 4, 5. A woman stands on a cabin porch, her dress torn at the shoulder, her lips split open and swelling. In her trembling hands, a Colt 45 catches the failing light. The barrel wavers. Her knuckles are white. 10 riders form a semicircle in the clearing below. Their horses stamp and blow in the evening heat. Dust hangs in the air like guilt. At the center, mounted on a black mare, sits a woman whose silver hair is pulled back so tight it seems to stretch her face into something predatory. Serafina Harcourt. She wears black silk that whispers when she moves. Her gloved hands rest on the saddle horn with the confidence of someone who has never been told no. "You think you're someone special," Serafina's voice carries across the distance, sharp as a blade drawn from a scabbard. A mail-order bride with dignity. The woman on the porch raises the pistol higher. Her arms shake. She's never held a gun before this week. Never thought she'd need to. "My name is Temperance Ashford." Her voice cracks but holds. "And my body belongs to me. Not you, not any man who pays." Serafina smiles. It's the smile of a snake that's already swallowed the mouse. "We'll see about that." The screen goes dark. 7 weeks earlier. Boston in May is a city of contrasts. Brick mansions on Beacon Hill cast shadows over tenement buildings where immigrants pack 6 to a room. The harbor smells of fish and tar, and the sweat of men who load ships bound for places they'll never see. Temperance Ashford walks through the North End with her head down. She's 26 years old and looks 40. Grief does that to a person. Grief and hunger. Her boots have holes in the soles. She can feel every cobblestone through the thin leather. The hem of her black dress is gray with street dust. She's worn this dress every day for 2 years. Mourning clothes. Widow's weeds. They say time heals all wounds. They're liars. She climbs 3 flights of stairs to a room that isn't hers anymore. Won't be after today. The landlady, Mrs. Kowalski, is waiting in the hallway with arms crossed over her considerable chest. "Mrs. Ashford." Not even a greeting, just a name loaded with accusation. "Mrs. Kowalski." Temperance keeps her voice level. "I have most of the rent. I just need 3 more days." "You said that last month." "I know, but the school where I teach, they're behind on salaries. They promised." "I don't care what they promised." Mrs. Kowalski's face is granite. "Promises don't pay my mortgage. You got until Friday or I sell everything in that room to cover what you owe." Temperance opens her mouth, closes it. There's nothing to say. Mrs. Kowalski is right. Fair even. You can't run a business on promises and sympathy. Inside her room, Temperance sits on the narrow bed and counts her money. $3.40. She owes $50 for rent. $20 for the doctor who attended David before he died. $15 to the grocer who let her buy on credit until he stopped. $85. It might as well be $8,000. On the small table by the window sits a daguerreotype in a tarnished frame. David Ashford on their wedding day. He's trying not to smile but failing. His eyes crinkle at the corners. He always said she made him forget how to be serious. "I'm sorry," she whispers to the photograph. "I tried." 3 years of marriage, 2 years of widowhood, 5 years total of loving a man who deserved better than to die crushed under machinery in a textile mill at age 29. The company paid his funeral expenses and called it generous. There's a knock at the door. Soft, apologetic. "Mrs. Ashford, there's a letter for you," came special delivery. Temperance opens the door. Mrs. Kowalski's daughter Anna stands there holding an envelope. The girl is maybe 15 with her mother's round face but her father's kind eyes. "Thank you, Anna." The envelope is heavy cream paper. Expensive, the kind lawyers use. Temperance's heart does something complicated in her chest. Maybe David's company finally admitted liability. Maybe there's compensation. She opens it with shaking hands. The letterhead reads, "Prescott and Sons Matrimonial Agency, connecting refined Eastern ladies with respectable Western gentlemen since 1870. Dear Mrs. Ashford," it begins, "we hope this letter finds you in good health." It does not find her in good health, but she keeps reading. "We write on behalf of Mr. Thomas Whitfield, proprietor of a cattle ranch in Montana Territory. Mr. Whitfield is a widower of 3 years, father to 2 daughters aged 9 and 7. He seeks a woman of good character and education to join him in matrimony and serve as mother to his children. Mr. Whitfield has reviewed your particulars provided to us by the Boston Teachers Association and believes you would be an ideal match. He is aware of your recent widowhood and wishes to offer not merely a marriage, but a fresh start in a land of opportunity. Should you accept, Mr. Whitfield will provide immediate funds to settle any outstanding debts in Boston plus $60 for train passage to Montana. He asks only that you arrive with an open heart and a willingness to build a life together. A photograph is enclosed for your consideration. Temperance's hands are shaking so hard the letter rustles. She pulls out the photograph. A man in his late 30s stands in front of a wooden house with mountains in the background. He wears a clean shirt and suspenders. His beard is neatly trimmed. He's not smiling, but his eyes don't look cruel. Next to him, a cow skull rests on a fence post. Very Western. She reads the letter again, then a third time. It's too good to be true. It has to be. But what if it's not? She thinks about Mrs. Kowalski selling her few possessions on Friday. She thinks about the hole in her boot and the way her stomach cramps with hunger most nights. She thinks about teaching children whose parents can barely pay her in a city where every street corner reminds her of David. She thinks about Montana, wide open spaces, mountains, a place where no one knows she used to be someone's wife. On the table, David's photograph catches the late afternoon light. What should I do? She asks him. He doesn't answer. Dead men never do. She picks up the photograph of Thomas Whitfield, studies his face for signs of cruelty, of deception, of anything wrong. She finds nothing, just a weathered man standing in front of a house that looks solid and real. In the desk drawer, wrapped in cloth, is David's wedding ring. She sold hers 2 months ago. Kept his because she couldn't bear to let go of everything. She unwraps it slowly, holds it up to the light. You told me not to live like a ghost, she whispers. You made me promise. The ring gleams, offers no opinion. That night, by the light of a single candle, Temperance writes her response. Dear Mr. Whitfield, I accept your generous offer. I will arrive in Montana as soon as arrangements permit. I bring with me a love of learning, a capacity for hard work, and a hope that we might build something good together. Yours in anticipation, Temperance Ashford. She seals the envelope before doubt can stop her. The next morning, she visits Prescott and Sons at their office on State Street. It's a narrow building sandwiched between a law firm and a doctor's surgery. Inside, a clerk with oiled hair takes her letter and returns with cab. $60 for the train. $25 for immediate expenses. Mr. Whitfield is a good man, the clerk assures her. Very respectable. You're fortunate. She wants to believe him. The train leaves in 3 days. Temperance pays Mrs. Kowalski, settles with the doctor and the grocer, buys a sturdy carpet bag and 2 plain dresses suitable for ranch life. She packs the wedding dress she married David in, white cotton with pearl buttons. Maybe she'll marry Thomas Whitfield in the same dress. Maybe that's fitting. On her last night in Boston, she walks to the cemetery where David is buried. The headstone is simple granite. She couldn't afford anything fancier. I'm going to Montana, she tells the grave. I'm going to try again. You'd want that, wouldn't you? The wind rustles through spring leaves. She chooses to believe that's his answer. The train journey takes 6 days. Boston to Buffalo, Buffalo to Chicago. Chicago across the endless plains where grass stretches to horizons that hurt to look at. The world is so much bigger than she imagined. In the rail car, she sits with other women traveling west. Most are young, hopeful, naive in ways that make Temperance's heart ache. They chatter about their prospective husbands, about starting new lives, about how romantic it all is. An older woman in the seat across catches Temperance's eye. She's maybe 50, with a face like carved wood. First time west, the woman asks. Yes, ma'am. Advice? The woman leans forward. Trust your gut. If something feels wrong when you arrive, it probably is. And remember out there, law is whatever the man with money says it is. Temperance wants to ask what she means, but the woman stands and moves to another car. The train arrives in Bitter Creek on a Thursday afternoon. The station is just a platform and a ticket office. Beyond it, a dusty street lined with false front buildings. It looks exactly like the Penny Dreadful said it would. Saloon, general store, livery stable, church with a crooked steeple. Temperance steps down onto Montana soil with her carpet bag clutched tight. The air smells different here. Dry, wide, like possibility. She looks for Thomas Whitfield. The platform is nearly empty. A few cowboys lean against the station wall, watching her with interest that makes her skin crawl. An old Chinese man pushes a cart loaded with laundry. A dog sleeps in the shade. No Thomas Whitfield. She waits. 10 minutes. 20. The train pulls away with a shriek of steam and vanishes into the distance. Now she's truly alone. Mrs. Ashford? She turns. A man approaches from the street. He's maybe 45 with a face like a hatchet and a scar running from his left eye to his jaw. He wears a dusty suit that might have been expensive once. Yes. Name's Crawford, Silas Crawford. I manage Mr. Whitfield's property. He touches the brim of his hat, a gentleman's gesture from a man whose eyes aren't gentle at all. Mr. Whitfield sends his apologies. Came down with something sudden like. Asked me to collect you and bring you out to the ranch. Temperance hesitates. He didn't mention that in his letters. Illness don't send warning letters, ma'am. Crawford's smile doesn't reach his eyes. But if you'd rather wait in town, I can see about getting you a room at the boarding house. Though I warn you, it ain't suitable for a lady of your refinement. She looks at the town. Already rough-looking men are watching her from the saloon steps. She can hear laughter that has edges to it. The ranch, she says quietly. Smart choice. Crawford takes her carpet bag. His wagon is parked behind the station. It's a Freight wagon, not a buckboard. The kind used for hauling goods, not passengers. But he helps her up to the bench with exaggerated courtesy. They drive north out of Bitter Creek. The road is rutted and red with dust. Mountains rise in the distance, purple and eternal. How far to the ranch, Temperance asks. About 8 miles. Crimson Ridge, beautiful country. You'll like it. She tries to picture her new life. Thomas Whitfield coming home from checking cattle. His daughters learning their letters at the kitchen table. A garden where she'll grow vegetables. Simple, clean, honest. After an hour, Crawford turns the wagon off the main road onto a narrower track that winds into a valley. Trees close in on both sides. The sun is lower now, painting everything gold and amber. Almost there, Crawford says. The track opens into a clearing. A large wooden building stands at the center. 2 stories, a wide porch, windows that reflect the dying light like blank eyes. But something's wrong. There are no cattle pens, no barn, no signs of ranch life at all. A sign above the porch reads, Crimson Ridge Lodge, boarding house for gentlemen. Temperance's stomach drops. This isn't a ranch. No, ma'am, it surely is not. Before she can move, Crawford has her arm in a grip like iron. He pulls her down from the wagon and toward the building. Let me go. She tries to pull away. He's too strong. The door opens. A woman steps out. She's perhaps 50, with silver hair pulled back so severely it seems to lift her eyebrows. She wears a black silk dress with jet beading that catches the light. Expensive, Eastern, predatory. Welcome, Temperance. The woman's voice is cultured, Boston cultured. I'm Serafina Harcourt. You're just in time for supper. There's been a mistake. Temperance's voice comes out high and thin. I'm supposed to meet Thomas Whitfield at his ranch. Serafina descends the porch steps. Up close, her face is beautiful in the way a statue is beautiful. Cold and perfect and carved from something that never lived. Thomas Whitfield doesn't exist, dear child. She says it like she's commenting on the weather. The letter was written by Mr. Crawford here at my instruction. We do apologize for the deception, but we've found that young widows are often the most amenable to relocation. The world tilts. Temperance's vision narrows to a tunnel. That's fraud. That's business. Serafina cuts her off. Now let me explain your situation. You owe me $60 for train fare, $30 for room and board beginning today, and $50 in training fees. That's $140, a substantial sum for a woman with no prospects. I don't owe you anything. But even as she says it, Temperance knows it doesn't matter. She's 8 miles from town. She has $3 in her pocket. She doesn't even know which direction to run. Oh, but you do. You see, this is a gentleman's club. Men come from all over Montana for entertainment. You'll work here until your debt is paid, serving drinks, being pleasant, making our guests feel welcome. Serafina's smile is a scalpel. You're educated, refined. That makes you valuable, rare even. We'll do very well together. Understanding crashes over temperance like ice water. You want me to. I want you to do what you're told. The cultured voice hardens into something else. Something that's been giving orders for a long time. I own half this county. The sheriff is my hunting partner. The mayor owes me money. The territorial judge in Helena sends me Christmas cards. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Temperance understands. She's been a fool, a desperate, grieving fool. I won't. Her voice shakes. You can't make me. Serafina sighs. Crawford show Mrs. Ashford to her room, the small one at the end of the hall, and lock the door. They drag her inside. She fights, kicks, screams. Crawford backhands her across the face. Her vision explodes into stars. When it clears, she's in a narrow room with bare walls and a single cot. The window is nailed shut. The door slams. A key turns in the lock. Temperance collapses onto the cot. Her cheek throbs where Crawford hit her. She can taste blood. On the wall above the bed, someone has scratched marks into the wood. Counting days. There are dozens of them. Time becomes strange in the locked room. Morning light. Darkness. Morning again. They bring her food once a day, bread and water, prison rations. On the third day, Serafina returns. Have you reconsidered? She asks from the doorway. Temperance doesn't answer. She's learned that silence is safer than defiance. I'll take that as progress. Come, it's time for your training. They move her to a different room. Larger, a mirror, a wardrobe full of dresses cut lower than anything Temperance has ever worn. Rouge, powder, the tools of a trade she never chose. Serafina is patient at first, almost maternal. It's not so terrible, dear. You serve drinks, you smile, you make conversation. Some of our girls do very well, save money, eventually buy their freedom. How long does that take? Depends on your debt and how quickly you pay it off. And if I refuse to do more than serve drinks, Serafina's face hardens. Then your debt grows, and my patience shrinks. Do we understand each other? The first week they let her serve in the main room downstairs. It's decorated like a wealthy man's parlor. Leather furniture, oil paintings, a piano. Men sit drinking whiskey and smoking cigars. They watch her like wolves watching a lamb. One reaches out and grabs her wrist as she passes. What's your name, sweetheart? Please let go. I asked you a question. Crawford appears from nowhere. The lady's new sir, still learning her manners. Give her time. The man releases her, but his eyes follow her all evening. That night she tries the window in the parlor. It's nailed shut like all the others. She tries the back door. Locked. Crawford sleeps in a room by the kitchen with a shotgun propped against the wall. She's in a cage with no bars. The second week, a man named Grimshaw comes to Crimson Ridge. He's maybe 50, with small eyes and hands that shake until he's had his first drink of the day. He owns a copper mine west of Butte. He's rich, and he's used to getting what he pays for. Serafina corners Temperance before supper. Mr. Grimshaw has requested a private dinner in the upstairs room. You'll serve him. Just serve. To start, Temperance's stomach turns to ice. I won't. The slap comes fast. Her head snaps sideways. Her ear rings. You will. Serafina's voice is ice wrapped in silk. Or I'll sell you to a logging camp where the men don't ask permission. Do you understand? Temperance nods because what else can she do? The dinner is worse than she imagined. Grimshaw sits too close, touches her arm, her shoulder, calls her pretty names that feel like insults. When she pulls away, he grabs her wrist. Paid good money for this evening, he says. His breath smells like whiskey and rot. Don't be coy. I'm just here to serve dinner. That's not what the madam said. When he tries to kiss her, Temperance does the only thing she can think of. There's a letter opener on the sideboard. She grabs it and stabs him in the shoulder. He screams. Blood blooms through his white shirt. Crawford bursts through the door, sees the blood. His face goes dark. What happens next, Temperance will try to forget. The beating, the locked room again. No food for 2 days, and Serafina's voice through the door. Next time you resist, I'll break your fingers. See how you teach school then. The third week, she stops fighting, physically at least. Inside, she's still screaming, but outside, she learns to smile, to serve, to pretend she's somewhere else when men look at her with hunger in their eyes. The fourth week, she starts coughing, just a little at first, then harder. The room is cold. Her dress is too thin. She hasn't been warm in a month. The fifth week, she coughs up blood. Not much, just pink foam on her handkerchief. But Serafina sees it and scowls. You're no good to me, sick. Pull yourself together. The sixth week, Serafina sends her to town for supplies. Crawford escorts her with a warning. Try to run and I'll tell the sheriff. You stole a horse. You know what they do to horse thieves out here. She knows. Everyone knows. A rope in a tree. In Bitter Creek, Temperance walks through the general store like a ghost. Everything reminds her of failure. The fabric reminds her of the wedding dress in her bag. The coffee reminds her of Boston mornings with David. The rope reminds her that escape means death. A man stands by the ammunition counter. Tall, maybe mid-30s. Beard, eyes the color of a Montana winter sky. He glances at her for 3 seconds. Something in his expression shifts. Concern recognition. She doesn't know. She looks away first. In this world, eye contact is dangerous. Back at Crimson Ridge, Serafina inspects the supplies, finds them adequate, dismisses Temperance to her room. That night, Temperance carves a mark into the wall above her bed. 49 days, 7 weeks. It feels like 7 years. She wraps herself in the thin blanket and closes her eyes. Sometimes she dreams about Boston, about David, about the life she thought she'd have. Tonight she dreams about the man in the general store, the one with winter eyes. In the dream, he asks her a question she can't quite hear, but she knows somehow that her answer matters, that it might be the only thing that matters. She wakes to the sound of her own coughing. Blood spots the handkerchief. More this time. Outside the window, dawn breaks over Montana. Red skies, they say that's a warning. She believes it. Saturday night in Bitter Creek. The kind of night when decent folks stay home and men with bad intentions ride into town. Josiah Blackthorne ties his mare to the rail outside the Crimson Ridge Saloon. He hasn't been down from the mountain in 3 months. Hasn't wanted to be. But the whiskey ran out 2 weeks ago, and some nights the silence in the cabin gets so loud it drowns out his thoughts. The saloon is the ground floor of Serafina Harcourt's lodge. Everyone knows what goes on upstairs. Nobody talks about it. That's how these things work in small towns. You look away. You mind your business. You tell yourself it's not your problem. Josiah pushes through the doors. The room smells like tobacco and sweat and cologne expensive enough to make a working man sick. Oil lamps cast shadows that seem to move even when nothing does. A piano player hammers out something that might be Mozart if Mozart had been drunk and angry. The bartender is a thick man named Griff who lost 3 fingers to frostbite during the winter of '78. He pours without being asked. Knows Josiah's drink. Been a while, Blackthorne. 3 months. You look like hell. That's what happens when you live alone with ghosts. Griff slides the whiskey across the bar. Heard you sold off your cattle. Didn't need them anymore. Easier to be alone when you don't have living things depending on you. It's the kind of conversation men have when they're both trying to avoid saying what they really mean. Griff goes back to wiping glasses. Josiah drinks slowly. The whiskey burns going down, but the burn is honest. Real. Unlike most things. Then he hears it. A sound from somewhere above. A cry cut short. The kind of sound an animal makes when the trap closes. Josiah sets down his glass. What was that? Griff doesn't look up. Nothing that concerns you. Sounded like someone hurt. Probably is. Serafina runs her business how she sees fit. And before you get ideas, Sheriff Drummond is her second cousin. Judge Morrison owes her money. The territorial governor sends her birthday cards. Griff finally meets Josiah's eyes. Whatever you're thinking, don't. Another sound, sharper this time. A woman's voice saying no, or maybe please. Hard to tell through the ceiling boards. Josiah stands. Every instinct he spent 4 years trying to bury suddenly comes awake. That old soldier's sense that something's wrong. That someone needs help. That standing by is the same as pulling the trigger yourself. Blackthorne, Griff's voice carries warning. I'm telling you as a friend. Walk away. But Josiah is already moving toward the back stairs. The second floor is different from the saloon below. Quieter, darker, red wallpaper that probably looked elegant once but now just looks like dried blood. Doors line both sides of a narrow hallway. Most are closed. Light shows under a few. The sounds are coming from the last door on the right. Josiah doesn't knock. That's the old war training. You knock, you give them time to prepare. Time to hurt whoever they're hurting worse. He opens the door. The room is small. A bed, a washstand, a wardrobe with one door hanging crooked. And in the center, on her knees on the bare floor, is the woman from the general store. The one with haunted eyes who flinched when he looked at her. Blood runs from her split lip down her chin. Her dress is torn at the shoulder. Her arms are wrapped around her ribs like she's trying to hold herself together. Standing over her is Serafina Harcourt. In her hand, a riding crop, the kind you use on horses that won't behave. Get up, Serafina is saying. You think you can refuse a paying customer? You think you have that right. The woman on the floor doesn't move. Maybe she can't. Maybe she's too tired to try. Crawford stands by the door. Two other men flank him. Hired muscle. The kind that don't ask questions as long as the pay's good. Serafina sees Josiah and her expression shifts from anger to cool assessment. The upstairs is private, Mr. Blackthorne. Unless you're here to make use of our services, let her go. This doesn't concern you. I'm making it concern me. Serafina's smile is thin and sharp. You have no idea what you're interfering with. This woman signed a contract. She owes a debt. This is simply business. Josiah looks at the woman on the floor, really looks. Her face is thin, too thin. There are bruises on her arms in various stages of healing, yellow, purple, green, a calendar of cruelty. And her eyes. God, her eyes. They're the same eyes Eleanor had at the end, when the fever was burning through her and she knew she was dying, and Josiah wasn't there to hold her hand. That look of absolute abandonment, of having given up hope so completely that even rescue seems impossible. He'd been 200 miles away when Eleanor died, fighting a war he didn't believe in for a country that didn't care if he lived or died. He came home to a grave and a house full of her things and a guilt so heavy it bent his spine. He swore he'd never let it happen again. Never stand by while someone suffered. Never be too late. How much does she owe you? His voice comes out flat, cold. The voice he used to use when giving orders that would get men killed. Serafina raises an eyebrow. I beg your pardon. Her debt, how much? $140, plus interest and penalties for her recent disciplinary issues. Call it $180. It's a fortune, 3 months' wages for a cowboy, 6 months for most men. It's also a lie. Everyone in the room knows it. But lies backed by force have a way of becoming truth. Josiah reaches into his coat, pulls out a leather pouch. He's been saving for years. Not for anything in particular. Just saving because there's nothing to spend money on when you live alone on a mountain. He counts out bills, slowly, deliberately, making sure everyone sees. $200, he sets the money on the washstand. That covers her debt plus interest plus whatever other nonsense you want to call it. She's paid up, she walks. Serafina doesn't touch the money. You can't purchase a human being, Mr. Blackthorne. I'm not purchasing, I'm settling a debt. Montana law says a debt paid is a debt settled. Or are you saying you want to argue that in front of Judge Morrison? Because I'm happy to ride to Helena and ask him personally. Might mention some other things while I'm there. Things about your business practices, your recruitment methods. The threat lands. Serafina's jaw tightens. For a moment, Josiah thinks she's going to refuse. Going to call Crawford and his men. Going to make this ugly. Then she picks up the money, counts it, folds it, tucks it into her bodice. Take her then, but understand this, Mr. Blackthorne. I have friends, powerful friends. If this woman steps foot in Bitter Creek again, I'll have her arrested for theft. If you interfere with my business further, you'll find yourself with problems you can't solve with money. I'll take my chances. He moves to the woman on the floor, offers his hand. She stares at it, at him, like she's trying to understand a language she's forgotten. It's all right, he says quietly. You're safe now. Why? Her voice is barely a whisper. Why would you? Because someone should have done it 7 weeks ago. Can you stand? She takes his hand. Her fingers are ice cold. She weighs almost nothing when he helps her up, like she's made of paper and wishes. Crawford moves to block the door. Boss Serafina waves him aside. Let them go, but remember what I said, Blackthorn. I own this county. You just made a very expensive enemy. Josiah guides the woman toward the door. She's shaking so hard he can feel it through her dress. Shock probably, or relief, or terror that this is just another trap. They're halfway down the hall when Crawford's voice stops them. Blackthorn! Josiah turns, keeps the woman behind him. Crawford's hand rests on his gun belt. Not on the gun itself, just close. Ms. Harcourt pays me good money to protect her investments. This don't sit right with me. Then take it up with her. I'm taking it up with you. The punch comes fast. Crawford knows how to fight. But Josiah learned fighting in a war where hesitation meant death. He slips the punch, catches Crawford's extended arm, and uses the man's momentum to slam him face first into the wall. The two hired men start forward. Josiah pulls Crawford's pistol from its holster and levels it at them. Don't. They freeze. Smart. Josiah empties the pistol's rounds onto the floor. Tosses the gun back to Crawford. Now step aside. They do. Downstairs, the saloon has gone quiet. Every eye watches as Josiah walks the woman toward the door. Past Griff behind the bar. Past card games frozen mid-deal. Past men who will talk about this for years. Outside, the night air hits like cold water. The woman waps, starts coughing. Not the kind of cough that's just a cough, the kind that brings blood. She spits into her hand, red, dark. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm sorry I can't. Don't apologize. Josiah unties his mare. Can you ride? I don't know, I haven't. It's been so long. I'll help you up. The mare is a good horse, steady, patient. The woman weighs so little that lifting her into the saddle takes no effort at all. She sways, grabs the saddle horn with white knuckles. Josiah swings up behind her. She tenses. Of course she does. Every man who's touched her in 7 weeks has hurt her. I'm not going to hurt you, he says. I'm just going to keep you from falling. Is that all right? She nods, doesn't speak, maybe doesn't trust her voice. He keeps one arm loose around her waist, light, barely touching, giving her space to breathe. They're 100 yards from Crimson Ridge when he hears the horses. 3 riders, coming fast. Crawford and 2 others. Josiah kicks the mare into a gallop. She responds instantly. Good horse, best he's ever owned. The woman in front of him makes a sound between a sob and a scream. Her hands grip the saddle so hard he can see bone-white knuckles in the moonlight. Hold on, he says into her ear. Just hold on. The trail north is rocky and uneven. In daylight, it's dangerous. At night, at a gallop, it's suicide. But Josiah knows this country. Rode it for 4 years after Eleanor died. Memorized every wash and ridge and hidden path. He guides the mare left off the main trail into the pines. Behind them, Crawford's voice. They went north, spread out. The trees close in. Branches whip past. The mare jumps a fallen log. Lands hard. The woman cries out. Sorry, Josiah breathes. Almost through. He takes them deeper into the forest. To a game trail he uses when hunting elk. It's narrow. Treacherous. But it leads up into the high country where horses can't follow unless the rider knows exactly where to step. They climb for 20 minutes. The woman coughs twice more. Each time Josiah feels her body convulse against his chest. Each time he wonders if she's going to pass out and fall. But she doesn't. She holds on. Whatever else she is, she's a survivor. Eventually the sounds of pursuit fade. Either Crawford gave up or took a wrong turn. Either way, they're alone. Josiah slows the mare to a walk, lets her catch her breath. Where are we going? The woman's voice is thin, exhausted. My cabin, it's about 2 hours north, higher up the mountain. Why are you helping me? It's a fair question. Josiah considers how to answer. Considers telling her about Eleanor, about the war, about 4 years of living alone because he doesn't trust himself around people anymore. Instead, he says, because you needed help. Men don't help for no reason. This man does. She's quiet for a long time. Then so softly he almost doesn't hear it, thank you. An hour later, she coughs again, hard enough that she doubles over. When she pulls her hand away from her mouth, it's wet with blood, black in the moonlight. I'm sorry, she whispers. I'm getting it on your coat. Don't care about the coat. How long have you been coughing like this? 2 weeks, maybe 3. Time got strange. You need a doctor. Can't afford a doctor. You don't have to afford anything anymore. That debt's paid. She makes a sound that might be a laugh, might be a sob. There's always another debt, always another trap. She's not wrong. Josiah has seen enough of the world to know that. But he's also seen people survive things that should have killed them. Seen them find ways to keep living even when living seems impossible. We'll figure it out, he says. First we get you somewhere safe. The cabin appears just before midnight. It sits in a clearing surrounded by pines with a view of the valley below. Simple, solid, built with logs Josiah cut himself after Eleanor died. A place to hide from the world. He helps the woman down from the mare. Her legs buckle. He catches her before she falls. Easy. I've got you. I can walk. I know you can, but you don't have to. He carries her inside, kicks the door shut behind them. The cabin is a single room. Fireplace on one wall, bed against another, table and 2 chairs by the window. On the mantel, a photograph in a simple frame. A woman with kind eyes and dark hair. Eleanor 3 months before she died. Josiah sets the woman on the bed. She looks around like she's never seen a room with just one door before, like she's waiting for the trap to spring. This is your bed, he says. That's my chair. The door locks from the inside. You're free to leave whenever you want. I can take you to Bitter Creek tomorrow, or Helena, or back to Boston if that's where you want to go. She stares at him. What do you want from me? Nothing. That's a lie. Everyone wants something. Not from you. He moves to the fireplace, starts building a fire, keeps his hands busy so she can watch him. See that he's not a threat. You're safe here. That's all this is. A safe place to rest. For how long? As long as you need. She's quiet while he works. The fire catches, spreads, fills the room with warmth and light. Josiah hangs a pot of water over the flames. You hungry? I don't know. I think I forgot what hungry feels like. When did you last eat? This morning. Bread, water. That's all they give you if you refuse to. She doesn't finish. Doesn't need to. Josiah finds the last of his bacon. Some beans. It's not much, but it's real food. He cooks while she sits on the bed watching him like he's a puzzle she can't solve. What's your name, he asks. Long pause. Then Temperance. Temperance Ashford. I'm Josiah Blackthorne. I know. Griff said it downstairs. He dishes out the food, hands her a plate. She holds it in both hands, stares at it. You're allowed to eat it, he says gently. I know, I keep thinking you're going to take it away, or ask for something in return. I won't. She takes a small bite, then another. Then she's crying and eating at the same time, tears running down her face into the beans. Josiah turns away, gives her privacy, busies himself making coffee even though it's nearly midnight, and neither of them should drink coffee this late. When he looks back, her plate is empty. She's wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. I'm sorry, she says. I didn't mean to. You don't have to apologize for crying or eating or anything else. She looks at him, really looks, studying his face like she's trying to memorize it, or maybe trying to find the lie she's sure is there. The bed is yours, Josiah says. I'll sleep in the chair. You don't have to do that. I know, but I will. He picks up a blanket from the chest by the bed, settles into the chair by the fireplace. The door locks from the inside. You can lock it if you want. I won't try to come in. Temperance stands, walks to the door. Tests the lock. It works. She looks back at him. You really mean that? I really mean that. She locks the door. Then finally she lies down on the bed, pulls the quilt over herself, closes her eyes. Josiah watches the fire, listens to her breathing gradually slow. It takes almost an hour before she's truly asleep. Even then, she whimpers sometimes. Dreams chasing her even here. He doesn't sleep. Can't. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees Crawford's face, Seraphina's cold smile, the blood on Temperance's lip. And he sees Eleanor, always Eleanor, dying alone while he was 200 miles away playing soldier. Around 3 in the morning, Temperance starts coughing again, hard enough that she wakes herself up. She sits bolt upright, gasping hand over her mouth. Josiah doesn't move, doesn't want to startle her. "It's all right," he says quietly. "You're safe. You're in the cabin. Remember?" She nods, can't speak through the coughing. He gets up slowly, pour water into a cup, brings it to the bedside, sets it down within her reach but doesn't hand it to her. Lets her take it herself. She drinks. The coughing subsides. "Thank you. You need a doctor." "I can't afford—" "Yes, you can, because I'm paying. And before you argue, it's not a debt, it's a gift. People are allowed to help each other. That's how this is supposed to work." She's quiet for a long moment. "Then why are you like this?" "Like what?" "Decent. Men aren't—" "They aren't like you." "Some men are." He sits back down in his chair, far enough away that she doesn't feel crowded. "And some aren't. You got unlucky. That's not your fault." "I was stupid. I believed a letter from a stranger. I got on a train to marry a man I'd never met." "You were desperate." "There's a difference between stupid and desperate." "Is there?" "Yes, stupid is knowing better and doing it anyway. Desperate is having no good choices and picking the least bad one. You're not stupid, Temperance. You're just someone who got lied to by people who are very good at lying." She lies back down, stares at the ceiling. "I had a husband, David. He died 2 years ago, crushed in a mill accident. I'm sorry. I thought I could start over. Thought Montana would be different, better, somewhere I could build a new life. It still can be. I don't see how. Give it time. Right now you're exhausted and hurt and probably terrified. Things look different in daylight, after rest." She turns her head to look at him. "Who did you lose?" The question catches him off guard. "What makes you think I lost someone?" "You have the look, the same one I see in the mirror, like part of you died and you're just walking around waiting for the rest to catch up." Josiah is quiet for a long time, long enough that he thinks she's fallen asleep. Then he says her name was Eleanor. She died 4 years ago. Scarlet fever. I was in Wyoming working cattle. By the time word reached me, she'd been dead 3 weeks. "I'm sorry, but—" "Me too, every day." Silence settles over the cabin. The fire crackles. Outside, something moves through the trees. Elk, probably, or deer. "Josiah, yes. If I wake up tomorrow and you're not here, if this was all a dream, I think it might kill me." His throat tightens. "It's not a dream, I promise." "How can you promise that?" "Because I'm not going anywhere, because you're safe here, because sometimes even when the world is mostly terrible, one person decides to be decent, and that's enough." She doesn't respond, but a few minutes later he hears her breathing even out, falling asleep for real this time. Josiah stays in his chair until dawn, keeping watch, making sure his promise holds. Morning comes slow and gold through the window. The first bird starts singing around 5. By 6, there's a whole chorus. Temperance wakes to sunlight, real sunlight not filtered through nailed-shut windows. She sits up, looks around like she's confirming it's real. Josiah is still in the chair. He's dozed off, finally head tilted back, mouth slightly open. The photograph of Eleanor sits on the mantel behind him. The woman in the picture is smiling, like she knew something good was coming. Temperance stands slowly, tests her legs. They hold. She walks to the door, unlocks it, steps outside onto the porch. The valley spreads below her. Mountains rise on all sides. The air smells like pine and morning and possibility. No smoke from other cabins, no sounds of men, just wilderness and silence, and sky so blue it hurts to look at. She closes her eyes, tilts her face up, feels the sun on her skin for the first time in 7 weeks. The tears come without warning, not sad tears, not exactly happy tears either. Just tears. The kind that come when you're so exhausted and broken that crying is the only language left. Behind her, she hears Josiah step onto the porch. "It's real," she says without opening her eyes. "This is real, Jens. Yes. I'm really here. I'm really free. You're really free." She opens her eyes, looks at him. This strange man who paid $200 for a woman he didn't know, who rode through the night to keep her safe, who asked for nothing in return. "What happens now?" she asks. "Now you rest, you heal, and then you decide what kind of life you want to build." Just like that. Just like that. She looks back at the valley, at Montana spreading wild and endless in every direction. She came here chasing a lie, found a nightmare, and somehow impossibly ended up here, on a mountain, with a man who doesn't want anything from her except the chance to help. Maybe that's not a new start. Maybe it's better. Maybe it's what grace looks like when you've given up believing in grace. "Thank you," she whispers, "for last night, for this, for everything." "You don't have to thank me." "Yes, I do, because no one else would have done it." She's probably right. Josiah has seen enough of the world to know that most people look away. Most people mind their own business. Most people tell themselves it's not their problem. But sometimes, just sometimes, one person decides that it is their problem, that they can't live with themselves if they walk away, that being decent matters more than being safe. He decided that last night. And looking at Temperance, now standing in the morning sun, with 7 weeks of hell behind her and the rest of her life ahead of her, he knows it was the right choice. The only choice, really. "Come inside," he says. "I'll make coffee, and then we'll figure out what comes next." She follows him back into the cabin. The door stays unlocked, because she doesn't need locks anymore, because this is different, because sometimes even in a world full of traps, you find a place where the door opens from the inside. The first morning, Temperance doesn't trust the silence. She wakes to it. No sounds of men downstairs. No footsteps in the hallway. No keys turning in locks. Just birdsong and wind through pine trees and the crackle of a fire already burning. She lies still, counts her breaths, waits for the trap to spring. It doesn't. Through the window, sunlight paints the floorboards gold. Real sunlight, not the gray filtered light of a shuttered room. She watches dust motes dance in the beam. Proof that she's awake, that this is real. Josiah sits in his chair by the fire. He's whittling something, a piece of pine. His hands move with the kind of steady patience that comes from having too much time alone. The knife whispers against the wood, soft, rhythmic, almost like breathing. He doesn't look at her, doesn't acknowledge that she's awake, just keeps working the wood while coffee percolates on the stove. "There's water in the basin," he says without looking up. "Fresh this morning. And I hung your dress by the fire. It was dirty. Thought you might want it clean." Temperance sits up slowly. Her ribs ache where Serafina's boot connected 2 days ago. Her lip is split and swollen. When she touches her face, her fingers find new bruises she doesn't remember earning. "Thank you." "There's bread on the table. Not fresh, but it's all I have. I'll ride down to see Dr. Brennan today. Have her come check that cough. I can't afford—" We discuss this, still not looking at her, still whittling. It's not a debt, she wants to argue. But arguing takes energy she doesn't have. And somewhere deep in her exhausted bones, she knows he means what he says. She washes her face. The water is cold and shocking and real. She dries herself with a towel that smells like pine soap and wood smoke. Her dress hangs by the fire clean, but still bearing the stains of 7 weeks in hell. Some things don't wash out. She eats the bread, drinks the coffee he pours without being asked. It's strong enough to strip paint. She drinks it anyway. "What are you making?" she asks finally. He holds up the piece of wood. It's beginning to look like a bird, wings half spread, beak pointed toward the sky. "Hawk," he says, "or it will be when it's done, itching." It's beautiful. It's something to do with my hands. They sit in silence, not uncomfortable. Just the quiet of two people who've both learned that sometimes words aren't necessary. After a while, Josiah stands. "I'm going to check on the mare. Then I'll ride down the mountain. Should be back by evening." "You're leaving me here alone." "Only if you want to be alone. You can come with me." She looks at the door. Open, unlocked, inviting. But the thought of going back down the mountain even with Josiah makes her stomach turn. I'll stay. He nods, doesn't seem surprised. There's a rifle over the fireplace if you need it, though you won't. Nobody comes up here. And why not? Because I don't want them to. He pulls on his coat, settles his hat, pauses at the door. Temperance. Yes, you're safe here. I need you to believe that. She wants to. God, how she wants to. The first week passes like a dream someone else is having. Temperance moves through the cabin like a ghost. She eats when Josiah puts food in front of her, sleeps when exhaustion finally drags her under, spends hours sitting on the porch watching clouds move across mountains. She doesn't trust it, any of it. Keeps waiting for Josiah to ask for something, to demand payment for his kindness, to show his true face. He doesn't. He keeps to himself, sleeps in his chair, gives her the bed without comment. When he speaks, it's practical. Never pressing, never probing. There's more coffee if you want it. I'm riding to check the trap line. Be back by dark. Brought venison. Thought we could use fresh meat. Small sentences, safe sentences. Building a language of coexistence. Dr. Octavia Brennan comes on the fourth day. She's 60 years old with hands like leather and eyes that have seen every kind of human suffering and stopped being surprised by any of it. She wears men's trousers under her riding skirt and carries her medical bag like a weapon. So you're the one Blackthorn pulled out of Harcourt's nest, she says by way of greeting. No judgment in her voice, just statement of fact. Yes, ma'am. Let me see. The examination is thorough and impersonal. Dr. Brennan checks Temperance's ribs, listens to her lungs, looks at the bruises with the clinical detachment of someone who's treated too many women with the same injuries. Pneumonia, she says finally. Not consumption, thank God. But bad enough. You need rest, good food, clean air. And these. She pulls bottles from her bag. Twice a day, mixed with water. Tastes like hell, but it works. How much do I owe you? Nothing. Blackthorn's paying. And before you argue, save your breath. You'll need it. Dr. Brennan packs her bag, looks at Temperance with something that might be sympathy or might be respect. It's hard to tell. You'll live, she says. Body heals faster than the mind, though. Don't be surprised if the nightmares stick around longer than the bruises. After she leaves, Temperance sits on the porch with the medicine bottles in her lap. 3 small containers, holding the difference between living and dying. A gift from a man who owes her nothing. Inside, she can hear Josiah moving around. Making dinner, probably. He's been doing that, cooking, cleaning, taking care of her like it's the most natural thing in the world. She doesn't understand it, can't make it fit with what she knows about men, about the world, about the cost of everything. That night, she makes herself speak. Mr. Blackthorn. He looks up from the stew he's stirring. Just Josiah. Josiah, why are you doing this? Doing what? All of it. The money, the cabin, the doctor. You don't know me. He's quiet for a moment, then, 4 years ago, my wife died. Scarlet fever. I was working cattle in Wyoming. By the time I got word she was sick and rode home, she'd been in the ground for almost a month. He ladles stew into 2 bowls. Doesn't look at her. She died alone in this cabin, with nobody to hold her hand or tell her it would be all right. I think about that every day. Think about how scared she must have been. How she must have waited for me to come home. How I wasn't there. He sets a bowl in front of her. I can't fix that. Can't bring her back. But I can make sure it doesn't happen again. Not while I'm standing right here. Temperance looks at the photograph on the mantel. Eleanor's kind eyes staring out at a future she didn't get to have. I'm sorry, Temperance whispers. Me too. Every day. The second week, something shifts. Temperance starts helping with chores. Small things at first. Washing dishes. Sweeping the floor. Josiah doesn't ask her to. Doesn't expect it. But sitting still makes her feel like she's and she's tired of dying. He teaches her to feed the chickens. Shows her which eggs are fresh and which are old. Lets her work at her own pace. One morning she's gathering eggs when the mare whinnies, loud, alarmed. Temperance drops the basket. Eggs crack on the ground. Her heart hammers so hard she can see her vision pulse. Josiah appears from the woodpile. Easy, it's just a snake. Horse doesn't like snakes, but Temperance is already backing away, hands up, body curved in on itself. She's not seeing the cabin, she's seeing Crawford's face, Seraphina's smile, the locked room. Hey, Josiah's voice cuts through. Look at me, Temperance. She does, focuses on his face, his winter gray eyes. You're here on the mountain. You're safe. I know, I'm sorry. I just don't apologize. You don't have to apologize for being scared. He moves away, gives her space, waits until her breathing slows before speaking again. Come on, let's teach you to ride. What? The mare, Duchess. If you're going to stay up here, you should know how to handle a horse. Temperance looks at Duchess. She's a big animal, powerful, capable of killing someone if she wanted to. I don't know if I can. We'll take it slow. He helps her up into the saddle. His hands on her waist are impersonal, steady. He steps back as soon as she's seated. Just sit for now. Get used to being up there. She sits. The world looks different from horseback. Bigger, more open. Duchess shifts. Temperance grabs the saddle horn. Her knuckles go white. Breathe, Josiah says. She can feel your fear. Makes her nervous. I'm trying. I know. They spend an hour like that, just sitting, just breathing, until Temperance's hands unclench and her shoulders drop, and she remembers that not everything powerful wants to hurt her. Then Duchess takes a step. Temperance yelps, loses her balance, starts to fall. Josiah catches her, his arms steady, strong, holding her up, and Temperance freezes, because she's been held by men, grabbed, restrained. Every touch has been a prelude to pain. Josiah feels her go rigid. He releases her immediately, steps back 3 paces, hands up. I'm sorry, I should have warned you I was going to catch you. She's shaking, can't stop. I won't touch you again without asking first, he says. I promise. He keeps that promise. For the rest of the day, the rest of the week. He asks before handing her things, warns before moving past her, creates space for her to exist without fear. And slowly, so slowly, she almost doesn't notice Temperance starts to relax. The 3rd week brings rain. It hammers the cabin roof for 3 days straight, turns the clearing into mud, makes the world shrink to just 4 walls and a fire, and 2 people learning to exist in the same space. They talk more now, small conversations that grow into larger ones. Where are you from? Temperance asked one evening. Virginia, near Richmond, grew up on a tobacco farm that went broke the year I turned 16. Is that when you went west? No, first I went to war. Figured the Union needed soldiers more than Virginia needed another poor farmer's son. Was it terrible? Yes. No elaboration, just yes. She doesn't push. She's learning to read his silences, to know which ones are doors and which ones are walls. Another night he asks about David. She tells him about meeting at a church social, about how David made her laugh, about 3 years of marriage that felt like they might stretch into forever. He was good, she says, really good. The kind of man who remembered your birthday and brought home flowers he couldn't afford. He deserved better than to die crushed under machinery. You deserve better than what happened at Crimson Ridge. Did I, though? The question comes out before she can stop it. I was stupid. I believed a letter from a stranger. I got on a train to marry a man I'd never met. Maybe I deserved... No, Josiah's voice is sharp. You deserved exactly none of what happened to you. You were grieving, desperate, trying to survive. There's no shame in that. Then why do I feel so ashamed? Because that's what people like Harcourt do. They make you think it's your fault, that you asked for it, that you deserved it, but you didn't. And carrying that shame around is like drinking poison and expecting someone else to die. She's quiet for a long time. Rain drums overhead. How do I stop? She asks finally. How do I stop feeling like I'm still there? I don't know. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. It's the most honest thing anyone has ever said to her. The 4th week, Temperance wakes to find blood on her handkerchief. More than usual. Darker. She tries to hide it. Washes it in cold water. Hangs it where Josiah won't see. But that afternoon, she's helping sort dried beans when the coughing starts. Hard. Violent. Bending her double. When it stops, there's blood on her hands. on her dress, spattering the table. Josiah is across the room in 2 strides. How long has it been like this? It's fine, it's just… How long, Temperance? Since last night. He curses, actually curses. It's the first time she's heard him lose his composure. I'm riding to get Dr. Brennan. Stay here. Rest. Josiah, you don't have to. But he's already out the door. Temperance sits alone in the cabin, blood on her hands, fear rising like floodwater. She's going to die here, on this mountain, after everything, after surviving 7 weeks at Crimson Ridge, after finding this impossible safe place. She's going to die anyway. The door opens. She doesn't remember how much time has passed. Dr. Brennan strides in like a force of nature. Let's see the damage. The examination is quick, efficient, not gentle. Dr. Brennan checks her lungs, makes her cough, looks at the blood. Pneumonia's worse. You're not resting enough, not eating enough, and you're carrying stress in your chest like it's a full-time job. I'm trying. Try harder, because this can kill you if you let it. Dr. Brennan mixes a new medicine, stronger, 3 times a day, and I mean 3, not 2 because you feel better, not 1 because you forgot. 3. She looks at Josiah. She needs real rest, not this twitchy half-sleep where she jumps every time the wind blows. Can you manage that? I'll try. Good, because I don't ride all the way up this mountain to watch people die who don't have to. After Dr. Brennan leaves, Josiah makes Temperance lie down, brings her tea, sits in his chair. I'm sorry, Temperance says. I'm nothing but trouble. You're nothing but sick. There's a difference. You must regret bringing me here. He looks at her, really looks, and his eyes are fierce in a way she hasn't seen before. I don't regret a single second, not one. And if you're waiting for me to change my mind or give up on you, stop. It's not happening. Why not? Because I'm not that kind of man. That night, Temperance has the nightmare again. She's back at Crimson Ridge, locked in the small room. Seraphina's voice through the door. You'll never leave. You're mine forever. She wakes choking, gasping, and Josiah is there, sitting on the floor by the bed, not touching her, just present. You're in the cabin, he says quietly. Safe. It was just a dream. It felt real. I know, mine do too. You have nightmares. Every night, different war, same screaming. She looks at him, this man who seems so solid, so unshakable, realizing he's just as broken as she is, just better at hiding it. What do you do, she asks, when the dreams won't stop? I remind myself that I survived, that I'm still here, that the past is past, even when it doesn't feel that way. Does it work? Sometimes. Sometimes I just wait for dawn. She's quiet. Then, will you stay? Just for tonight, just so I know someone's here. I'll stay as long as you need. He doesn't move from his spot on the floor, just sits there, solid, real, present. Temperance closes her eyes, sleeps. And for the first time in 7 weeks, she doesn't dream. The morning of the 5th week, a rider comes up the mountain. Temperance is on the porch when she sees him. Tall, dressed in dark leather, moving with the easy confidence of someone who's been paid to find people who don't want to be found. Her blood turns to ice water. Josiah! Her voice is sharp, terrified. He comes out of the cabin, sees the rider. His jaw sets. The man stops 50 yards out, doesn't dismount, just sits there on his gray gelding, studying them. Josiah Blackthorne, his voice carries across the distance. That's right. Name's Vance Holloway. I believe you have something that belongs to Mrs. Harcourt. Temperance feels her legs go weak. She grabs the porch railing. Josiah steps between her and Holloway. Miss Ashford doesn't belong to anyone. That's not what Mrs. Harcourt says. Says Miss Ashford left with an unpaid debt. Says you kidnapped her. I paid $200 to settle that debt. You can ask anyone who was there. Mrs. Harcourt says differently. Says Miss Ashford now owes $500 in penalties and damages. Says she wants her property returned. Josiah's hand moves to his belt. Temperance realizes with shock that he's wearing a gun. She hasn't seen him wear one before. You need to leave my property, Josiah says. His voice is different now, cold, flat. the voice of someone who's killed before and will do it again if necessary. Holloway holds up both hands. Easy, friend. I'm just delivering a message. Mrs. Harcourt wants Miss Ashford back. She's willing to forgive the debt if the lady comes willingly. Otherwise, she's filing charges with the territorial marshal. Kidnapping, theft, assault on her employee Crawford. Crawford attacked me. Not how he tells it. Then he's lying. Holloway shrugs. That's for a judge to decide. Point is, Mrs. Harcourt has friends. Powerful friends. She owns half of Bitter Creek and most of the law with it. You're one man on a mountain. Think carefully about whether this is a fight you want. I'll fight until I'm dead if that's what it takes. Holloway studies Josiah for a long moment. Then his eyes shift to Temperance. What about you, miss? You willing to let this man die for you? The question hits like a fist. Because no, she's not willing. She's watched enough people die. David, the women who didn't survive Crimson Ridge. She won't add Josiah to that list. I'll go back, she says. Her voice shakes but holds. No. Josiah doesn't turn around. You won't. I won't let you die for me. I'm not dying, and you're not going back. Now he does turn, looks at her. Do you want to go back, truthfully? Do you want to return to Crimson Ridge? No, the word comes out like a saw. God, no. Then you're not going. End of discussion. Holloway sighs. You've got 3 days, Blackthorn. 3 days to bring Miss Ashford to Bitter Creek voluntarily. After that, I come back. And I won't be alone. He turns his horse, rides down the mountain without looking back. Temperance is shaking. Can't stop. Her knees buckle. Josiah catches her before she falls. This time she doesn't flinch, just leans into him, lets him hold her up. I have to go back, she whispers. I can't let you die. You're not going back. Ever. Then what do we do? He's quiet for a long moment. When he speaks, his voice is firm, decided. We fight. Against Serafina, against the law, Josiah, she owns half the county. You said it yourself. She owns half of Bitter Creek, not Helena, not the territorial capital. There are still honest judges in Montana. We just have to get to them before Holloway comes back. How? Dr. Brennan, she's the only person I trust in 100 miles. If anyone knows how to reach an honest judge, it's her. Temperance pulls back, looks at him. Why are you doing this? It can't just be about Eleanor. He's quiet. She can see him wrestling with something. Finally, he says, 4 years I've been alone on this mountain. 4 years I've been so angry at myself for not being there when Eleanor needed me that I stopped believing I deserved to be anywhere. Stopped believing anything I did mattered. He looks at her, really looks. Then I saw you on the floor at Crimson Ridge, and something in me woke up. Something I thought was dead. Purpose, maybe. Or just the understanding that standing by while someone suffers is the same as causing the suffering yourself. Josiah, I'm not done. You asked why I'm doing this. I'm doing it because you're the first thing in 4 years that has made me want to be better than I am. Made me want to fight. Made me remember what it feels like to care about something other than my own guilt. Temperance can't breathe, can't speak. So no, Josiah continues, I don't regret bringing you here. I don't regret paying your debt. And I won't regret fighting Serafina Harcourt with everything I have, because you're worth fighting for. And maybe if I fight hard enough, I can finally forgive myself for not fighting when it mattered. A tear runs down Temperance's cheek. She doesn't wipe it away. I don't want to be your redemption. You're not. You're just someone who deserves better than what the world gave you. Same as Eleanor. Same as me. Same as everyone who gets broken by people with power. He steps back, runs a hand through his hair. Dr. Brennan rides to Helena every month, delivers medicine to the territorial hospital. She can get a message to Judge Cordelia Ashmont, the only judge in Montana who can't be bought. If anyone can help us, it's her. How long will that take? 4 days, maybe 5. Holloway gave us 3. Then we'll need to be ready when he comes back. Temperance feels something shift inside her. Something that's been buried under 7 weeks of fear and pain. Something that tastes like anger. I'm tired of running, she says quietly. You don't have to run. Not anymore. I'm tired of being afraid. Duh. Fear is natural. It's what keeps us alive. I'm tired of letting it control me. She looks at him. If we're going to fight, I want to fight too. Really fight. Not just hide while you handle everything. What are you saying? Teach me to shoot. Josiah blinks. Temperance. You have guns. I saw them. Teach me how to use one. If Holloway comes back, if Serafina's men come, I want to be able to defend myself. I want to be dangerous. He studies her, sees something in her face that makes him nod slowly. All right, we start tomorrow. That evening, Josiah pulls a wooden case from under his bed, opens it. Inside, wrapped in oilcloth, are two guns, a Winchester rifle and a Colt .45 revolver. I haven't touched these in 4 years, he says. Swore I wouldn't, swore I was done with violence. Then why keep them? Because some oaths are easier to make than to keep. He unwraps the revolver, checks it. The metal gleams in the lamplight. Temperance realizes this is the first time she's seen him handle a weapon. He does it with the easy competence of someone who's done it 1,000 times before. Tomorrow, he says, I'll teach you everything I know. Temperance nods. Her heart is hammering, but not with fear, with something else, something that feels almost like hope. The next morning dawns clear and cold. Frost covers the clearing. Their breath makes clouds in the air. Josiah sets up tin cans on a fallen log 50 feet from the cabin. 5 of them in a row. First rule, he says, handing Temperance the Colt. Never point a gun at anything you don't intend to shoot. The revolver is heavier than she expected. Cold. Lethal. Second rule, always assume it's loaded, even when you know it's not. He shows her how to hold it, both hands, arms extended, elbows slightly bent. Third rule, breathe. You hold your breath, you shake. You shake, you miss. She aims at the first can. Her arms tremble. Squeeze the trigger. Don't pull. Squeeze. She squeezes. The gun kicks. The sound is thunder. The bullet goes wide. Doesn't even come close to the can. Again, she shoots. Misses. Again, miss. Again, miss. Again, miss. Again, miss. Again. The 7th shot hits dirt 2 feet in front of the log. Better, Josiah says. You're anticipating the recoil. Let it surprise you. She shoots again. The can doesn't move. But the 9th shot hits the log. The 10th grazes the 2nd can. The 11th knocks it flying. Temperance lowers the gun. Her ears are ringing. Her hands smell like gunpowder. She's shaking, but she hit it. Good, Josiah says. Now do it again. They spend 3 hours like that, loading, aiming, shooting. Her shoulders ache. Her fingers are numb. But by the end, she can hit 3 out of 5 cans. Is that enough? She asks. It's a start. That afternoon, Josiah rides down to find Dr. Brennan. Temperance stays at the cabin, practices dry firing the revolver, getting used to the weight, the feel. When Josiah returns at dusk, his face is grim. Dr. Brennan's riding to Helena tonight. She'll get word to Judge Ashmont, but it'll take 4 days at least, maybe 5. We only have 3. I know. They eat dinner in silence, the weight of what's coming pressing down on them. That night, while cleaning up, Temperance finds something in her carpet bag. Something she hasn't looked at since leaving Boston. A letter, sealed, addressed to her in unfamiliar handwriting. What's that? Josiah asks. I don't know. I've never seen it before. She opens it. The paper is cheap, the handwriting shaky. Dear Mrs. Ashford, it begins. You don't know me. My name is Margaret Hayes. I answered a letter from Prescott and Sons 6 months ago. I went to Montana to marry a rancher named William Prescott. He didn't exist. I ended up at Crimson Ridge. I escaped 3 weeks ago. If you get this letter before you go, don't. It's a trap. They take women and they don't let them go. I'm sending this to every woman I can find who might have gotten a letter. Please don't make my mistake. The letter is dated 2 weeks before Temperance left Boston. It was in my bag, Temperance whispers. All this time, someone tried to warn me. Margaret Hayes. She tried to warn me and I never saw it. She looks at Josiah. Crawford must have taken it from my bag, destroyed it, or thought he did. It must have fallen to the bottom. Josiah takes the letter, reads it. His jaw clenches. Margaret Hayes escaped, he says. That means others can too. That means Serafina's operation isn't as airtight as she thinks. It also means there might be more women, more than just the ones at Crimson Ridge. If Margaret Hayes was there 6 months ago and escaped, how many others didn't? We'll find out. After this is over, after Judge Ashmont comes, we'll find every woman Serafina trafficked, and we'll make sure they're free. Temperance folds the letter carefully, puts it in her pocket. Margaret Hayes saved me, she says. She tried to warn me, and even though I didn't get the letter in time, knowing someone else escaped gives me hope that if she could get out, I can stay out. She looks at Josiah. We have to win, not just for us. For Margaret Hayes, for every woman who's still trapped, for every woman who died there. We will. That night they sit on the porch. The valley spreads below them, dark and vast and full of possibility, or threat. It's hard to tell anymore. Josiah, yes. If this goes badly, if Serafina wins, if they take me back, they won't. But if they do, I need you to know something. He waits. These weeks here, they've been the best of my life, every single one, even the scared ones, even the sick ones. Because for the first time since David died, I felt like a person instead of a problem, like I matter. Her voice breaks. She steadies it. You gave me that, you and your stupid kindness and your refusal to give up. So thank you for everything, for saving me when you didn't have to, for treating me like I'm worth saving. Josiah is quiet for a long time. When he speaks, his voice is rough. You've given me something too. What? A reason to stop hiding. He reaches out, slow, giving her time to pull away, takes her hand. She doesn't pull away. They sit like that as the stars come out. Two broken people on a mountain, building something neither of them has words for yet. Down in the valley, Bitter Creek glows with lamplight. And somewhere in that light, Serafina Harcourt is planning, scheming, preparing to take back what she considers hers. But up here on this mountain, Temperance Ashford makes a decision. She's done being property, done being afraid, done running from people who want to own her. 3 days until Holloway returns. 3 days to learn to fight. The next morning, Temperance hits 4 out of 5 cans on her first round. Josiah smiles, actually smiles. It's the first time she's seen it. You're a natural, and he says. I'm motivated. They practice until noon. Then Josiah shows her the Winchester. Heavier, more kick, but more range. If they come from a distance, use this. The Colt is for close work. By evening, Temperance can load both guns without looking, can hit a target at 50 feet with the revolver, 75 with the rifle. It's not expert marksmanship, but it's enough to make her dangerous. That night, as the sun sets behind the mountains, Josiah is reloading ammunition at the table. Temperance sits across from him, cleaning the Colt. Josiah. Yes, she sets down the gun, looks at him, really looks. I love you. The words hang in the mountain air. Simple, true, terrifying. Josiah's hands stop moving. He looks up. His face does something complicated, like he's been holding his breath for 4 years and finally remembered how to exhale. Temperance. You don't have to pen it back. I just needed you to know. Because if Holloway comes in 3 days and everything goes to hell, I don't want to die without telling you. He sets down the ammunition, stands, crosses to her side of the table. Then he cups her face in his hands, rough palms against her cheeks, thumbs wiping away tears she didn't know were falling. I loved Eleanor with everything I had, he says. Thought that was the end of loving for me. Thought I'd used it all up. Josiah. But then you taught me something. You taught me that love isn't a finite resource. It doesn't run out. It grows. It changes. It becomes something new. He leans his forehead against hers. I love you, Temperance Ashford. I love your stubborn refusal to give up. I love the way you cry when you eat good food because you forgot what kindness tastes like. I love that you want to learn to shoot even though you're terrified. I love every broken piece of you, and I love what we're building together. She kisses him, or he kisses her. It doesn't matter who starts it. What matters is that it's soft, careful, full of promise instead of demand. When they pull apart, the sun is setting behind the mountains, painting everything gold and red. 3 days, Temperance whispers. 3 days, Josiah agrees. Then let's make them count. They stand together on the porch. Two people who've been broken by the world, who found each other in the worst possible circumstances, who decided that surviving wasn't enough, they wanted to live. Down in Bitter Creek, Serafina Harcourt counts her money and sharpens her knives. Up on the mountain, Temperance and Josiah load their guns and sharpen their resolve. The war is coming, but for tonight, they have each other. And sometimes that's all the ammunition you need. Temperance looks at the valley, at the distant lights of Bitter Creek, at the darkness between here and there. "Do you think we can win?" she asks. Josiah takes her hand. "I think we already have. Whatever happens in 3 days, Serafina Harcourt doesn't own you anymore. You're free. You're loved. You're standing on your own 2 feet. That's winning. Even if they take me back. They won't take you back. Not while I'm breathing. And even if they try, you're not the same woman they locked up 7 weeks ago. You're stronger now. Fiercer. You know how to fight, and you know you're worth fighting for." She squeezes his hand. "I do know that, because you taught me." "No, you already knew it. I just reminded you." They watch the stars come out, one by one, patient, eternal. And Temperance thinks about Margaret Hayes, about the letter that tried to warn her, about all the women who came before and all the women who might come after. This fight isn't just about her anymore. It's about all of them. 3 days. 3 days until Vance Holloway returns with Serafina's men. 3 days to prepare, to plan, to make sure that when the fight comes, they're ready. 3 days until everything changes. But tonight she's safe. She's loved. She's free. And that's enough. For now, that's enough.